Thank you, Chair. I can confirm that the meeting is now live.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. So I'm going to call the meeting to order, the Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council for December 11th, 2024. All members are present. And I'd like to acknowledge that Halifax Regional Municipality is located in Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and traditional lands of the Mi'kmaq people. The municipality acknowledges the peace and friendship treaties signed in this territory and recognizes that we're all treaty people. We'll start off with 1.1, tabling of the 2024 annual report. This is now it would be open to public participation for the annual report. The public participation session is specifically for those who would like to speak to decisions outlined in the annual report. General public participation will occur later in the evening. Speakers can participate for a maximum of 5 minutes. Please keep your comments respectful, on topic, and directed to the chair. The clerk will hold up a yellow sign when you have 30 seconds remaining, and when your time is complete, the clerk will hold up a red sign. Right now, there are no names on the list, so I'll call 3 times to ask if there are any speakers who wish to speak to the annual report. Are there any speakers?
Do you want us to put the motion on first?
Nope. Not according to this.
Okay.
Yes? Change. We will wait. So, are there any members of the public who would like to speak to the annual report? Second call. And third and final call, are there any members of the public who would like to speak to the annual report? Okay, hearing none, we will now put the motion on the floor, please. Councillor Austin.
I move that Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council table the 2024 Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council annual report as presented.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Purdy. Any discussion on it? No? Can I have a call for the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried.
Motion approved November 14th minutes.
Second.
Member, Councillor Hensby has moved the minutes for November, October 3rd and October 17th. Seconded by Councillor Purdy. Are there any questions or of any nature?
November 14th today, it's on the agenda I have.
Hang on a second.
Pardon me. Yep, it is the November.
You're right, it's
meeting
November
dates. Pardon,
14th.
The annotated agenda.
The annotated agenda
Has
does
a-
not say that.
Another careless error in it.
I'm not going to call it an error. He's overworked. Yeah. Right, and now in the season, right? So that's for, I'm going to correct that. That's for November 14th, 2024. Moved and seconded. Is there anyone interested in speaking?
All questions?
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion's carried. Approval of the order of business and approval of additions and deletions. Mr. Clerk, are there any that we need to consider?
Thank you, Chair. Through you to Community Council, there are no requests received by the clerk's office for either additions or deletions.
Thank you. Do any of the members of the committee have any to offer? No, hearing none.
Move the approval of the agenda as circulated.
Thank you. Councillor Hensby moved,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner. I keep wanting to call you guys commissioners because when I sit in this chair, it's often that. Councillor Purdy has seconded. And call for the question. All in favor say aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Thank you. Business arising out of the minutes. I don't think we have any. Call for declaration of conflict of interest. Hearing none. Motions of reconsideration, there are none. Motions of rescission, there are none. Consideration of deferred business is none. Notices of table matters, none. Public hearings, none. Correspondence, petitions, and delegations. Mr. Clerk, are there any correspondence?
Thank you, Chair. There is no correspondence which has been circulated for this evening.
Okay, thank you very much. Any petitions?
None received by the clerk's office.
Thank you. Any petitions from the councillors? No. All right, moving forward to presentations. 11.3.1, we have non-market housing inventory for HRM's District 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this presentation will be done by David Harrison, Planning and Development Consultant. So the floor is yours, David. You'll have 10 minutes to your presentation. The legislative assistant will hold up the sign when you have 30 to let you know when you are coming close to the end of your time. When your presentation is over, just remain at the podium if you're in the chair, if you don't mind. After the presentation has been made, members may ask questions of clarification from the presenter. There will be no debate on the matter of the presentation. If the body has the mandate to request staff reports, a member may move a motion from the floor for a staff report, but debate will be restricted to whether to request a staff report, not the substance of the presentation. If the body does not have the mandate to, do we have the mandate to request stamp? It's our body, the body of this committee, right? Do we have the mandate to request reports? Yes. Okay, so I don't have to read the second part. Okay, you guys know the drill. Member may move the motion or defer the matter, depending on the instruction of the original request. If there are no motions passed, then there will be no action taken. All righty. David, are you ready?
I am. Thank
Okay,
you.
thanks for coming.
Good evening. Just before I get started, the Main Street Center, which is the picture here, is 2/3 complete, and it is almost closed in. So winter construction will be happening, but inside the building. All right, I'm pressing a button. Here we are.
There we go.
I've done about 10 different housing studies across Atlantic Canada, and currently working with Turner Drake, preparing one for the city of Fredericton. This is the second one Turner Drake's done there. And I've done it here as a volunteer for a couple of reasons. I have obligations for annual certification with the Institute of Planners, and this qualifies for that. And seeing it in work elsewhere, I thought I would like to inform HRM about this, and I would like to inform the development of your housing strategy. All it is it's just really a framework to identify and assess non-market housing needs. And it's a starting point for understanding challenges, gaps, solutions, getting people together through networking, housing forums, and promoting partnerships, monitoring progress and updating strategies, which is underway, to my knowledge, in Miramichi, St. John's, and now Fredericton. I really like this image because it shows what our housing system is, and often this is referred to as a housing ecosystem, where all the parts are interconnected. And in this graphic, the orange pieces are market housing, and the blue and green pieces are non-market housing. So having taken a scan of the type of housing in the 5 districts, what I did was I divided the blue and green pieces into categories, and I came up with 9 of them. And they range from emergency shelters down through to seniors housing. And I also tracked housing support groups that provide important services into the districts, whether they are located here or not, but they generally do not own housing. So tracking these support groups is important. So I have different levels of confidence in the data. I had trouble getting certain things. We'll talk about that in a minute. And other things were readily available. I'm working actively with Akuma Holdings, and I know a lot about that organization and others that are pursuing African Nova Scotian housing. And as I said, the other information is either online or a quick phone call away. Now, you can dive into any one of these categories and you'll find different issues at work between them, and this is a key point. I'm going to walk you through one of them given the time, but seniors housing, and also because it's the one that I know the best. So seniors housing includes independent living, assisted living, and long-term care. And it's provided by the 3 sectors: public, nonprofit, and private sectors. The province licenses long-term care, residential care, and respite care. Assisted living and independent living are not licensed. However, independent living can be qualified because tenancy can be restricted by age through an exemption in the Human Rights Act if your housing project has universal design, indoor-outdoor amenity spaces, access to care. The owner doesn't need to provide the care, it just needs to be available and have a clear route. So across the 5 districts, the licensed units are 543 long-term care, 37 RCF units, and 1 respite care. If we're talking about gaps, you look at the population of the 5 districts, and 1 respite care may well be a gap. For the Main Street Center, we did a seniors population projection. And the reason for that is that we were considering and are working towards securing 20 of those units as seniors housing in the building. The first thing, the most obvious thing, is the baby boom crashing in on us and peaking in 2031. And there's a couple of other points about this graph. The first is that it will decline, but it settles down in about 30 years after that to basically the same numbers that we have or had in 2021. So if we have seniors housing problems today and in 2021, you can anticipate at least those are going to get worse in the interim, and then it'd be about the same when it levels off. The good news is we've got a long time to chip away at this. The other interesting thing about this is that the baby boom has an echo boom, and that's shown below in the over 85-year-olds. Now, this is just for Dartmouth East, but there's about 2,500 more adults who are over the age of 85 at that time when it peaks compared to today. That's just the one provincial riding. So we have, a significant issue looming on long-term care as a result of the baby boom. And of course, you probably know we're already experiencing that. Given that work, I had commissioned a similar thing done for Akuma Holdings. And the reason for that, I was interested in seeing for the African Nova Scotian communities in District 4, and was to see what was going on with that echo boom. And sure enough, there it is. And this was included in Northwood's proposal and successful proposal to secure a new long-term care facility on Akuma's property. From my perspective, and this is sort of more the analysis, we simply need more independent and more affordable assisted living options for older adults. We're facing serious challenges in long-term care and impacts on our healthcare costs. You're probably aware of a growing number of older adults who are homeless. And another factor is if we can't provide these housing and community, and there's a dislocation of older adults due to a lack of housing options, that can lead to isolation and mental health issues. What I've been trying to do about this over the last 8 or 9 years is promote what I'm calling aging well in place partnerships. We're all aging in place. How well are we aging in place? And the first effort is a fairly substantial development in Fall River between Northwood and GFC Management. The Main Street Center has a home support program in place now with Northwood for those 20 units. I'm quite confident that Northwood and Akuma are going to develop some really unique partnerships. And the same in Musquodoboit Harbour, where the Birches is being replaced. So I came up with 65 non-market groups in the 5 districts. The province is a little difficult to slot because rent supplements are unknown, but they're an intervention in market housing and they should be tracked. I don't have that data. I do have the names of their seniors housing projects and their addresses, but I don't know the number of units in them, and nor do I know the number of units in public housing that the province may own. Try as I might, I never connected with the Nova Scotia Housing Agency, so those number of beds, those number of units is most certainly understated. In terms of the planned units, that's based on my own knowledge and things I gleaned off research. And the big one is in affordable mixed income, the 926. That's really boosted by the announcement that Canada Lands made on Shannon Park, where they want 600 affordable housing units. And then I tried to slot it all for your benefit by district. And there's probably some issues here. The boundaries all changed. That wasn't very fair for doing this work, but I've slotted them the best I have. And I think the main thing about this is that your districts have sort of different flavors here. You know, rural housing, not a category, but there's some unique needs and opportunities. That's obviously District 2, but parts of Districts 3 and 4. The current nonprofit long-term care centers are in Districts 2 and 3, and District 4 will be on stream with Northwood in 2027. Also of interest in District 4, half of the housing co-ops are located in District 4 and most of the African Nova Scotian housing. And then Districts 5 and 6 tend to be where you find the housing support groups, the shelters, and seniors housing. I'm not sure what to do at this point. I'm interested in your comments. I'll just quickly indicate that these bullets under the housing strategy would be my recommendation to HRM on what should be done. The community housing plan, I believe, has been circulated. That was done for Musquodoboit Harbour, and it may be worthwhile to look at that for other communities in HRM. Your bids are important. This is economic development ultimately. I don't know what the role of community councils, but it's probably to monitor local need. And if there's one major piece of advice, the categories are regional. And that's where you should spend your energy on your housing strategy.
Thank you very much, David. You got through it. And I just, before we go any further, I just want to let people know that David's been at this for a very, very long time, and his tenacity to bring the information to as many places as possible is actually wonderful. So thank you.
And I'm still climbing that baby boom mountain.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
very important to note.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for David? No? Okay, I do, actually.
Okay.
Can you flip us to slide 4 for a moment?
4?
Yes, please.
Which one is that?
That's the big circle.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so the safety net, that's the non-market?
The blue and the green.
The blue and the green.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right. That's what I wanted to understand in your slide.
Yeah.
And slide 6 and 7,
Mm-hmm.
the graph. So just help me understand.
6, this one,
Yeah, both, there's 2.
that one, and that one?
Yeah, so can you help me understand what data you used and like where did you draw the data to get to this conclusion? I just
Well,
want to
I
understand it.
actually retained a Dow planning student to do both of these.
Okay,
He's now working for you, so you have this capability. It's a projection technique which involves ensuring you have a good base of data to start with, and that the boundaries are sort of clarified. So it's based on census data.
okay,
Okay, so you can track it historically, and then you add in projections on births and deaths and migration, in-migration and out-migration, and it's a formula or a format.
were there assumptions placed on
Always,
it?
yeah,
Always,
always,
yeah?
yeah.
Can
But
you
those would be typical for any statistical analysis like this.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. All righty, good. I just wanted to, have an understanding where you got it all from. Thank you very much. I don't think we have any questions at this time. I know that our members all have your contacts, so if they do come
Well-
across something that could be helpful. David, did you happen to send any of this into the clerk's office or for,
Just
but we
to
have it now.
Simon,
yeah,
one other thing, just if you are interested in the data for your district, I can make it available.
okay,
So
good.
this isn't a spreadsheet, so
Yeah.
it's, I'm going to try updating it over the Christmas holidays. But if you wanted to see what it was for your district, I could make that available.
Okay,
As for the whole data sheet, I'm hoping to meet with the planning department on it.
okay, good. Yeah.
And I'll be presenting it again in January to the Nova Scotia Nonprofit Housing Association.
Good to hear.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, thank
Okay,
you,
thanks
David,
so
for
much.
coming in.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Good to see everyone.
Okay, now we're moving to public participation. We'll have the general public participation sections where speakers can speak for a maximum of 5 minutes. Use your comments respectfully and on topic directed to me, the chair, and the clerk will remind you when you have 30 seconds and when your time is complete. At this point, there is only one name on the list. I don't know, I can't read the extent of the.
Actually, to Paul Clark as well. It's prior registration.
Paul Clark?
Just on the first.
Oh, there, that one. Sorry, two. Okay, yeah, sorry, I was thinking. So we have Paul Clark first, if you'd like to come to the podium. Okay, you can just sit at the chair, yeah. Does he have a presentation? Should we close that laptop?
Oh, that's fine. No.
Okay,
Well,
it's kind of in his face, yeah. Get that out of
Thank
your,
you.
get that out of your face, yeah.
Hi.
Okay, Paul.
Okay, good evening, councillors. Paul Clark, District 5. I just want to say a few words about an item that all you councillors, we all drink the water. And to come out and to find out that the water we've been drinking for the last number of years hasn't been treated with fluoride, and we all assumed that it was, is shameful on somebody's part to not be adding the fluoride to it. The fluoride is good. It's good for everybody, but it's especially good for children. Their teeth are forming, and it's been off for what, 6 years now. It's not added for 6 years. So there's 6 early years of children without the fluoride treatment. And I'm no dentist, but I'm wondering how this is going to show itself in future time. It reminds me of Walkerton. We all know what Walkerton, and that came about by the treatment of water, which just wasn't correct. I'm not sure of the details of it, even though I read it recently. But somebody was making an error, or somebody was making an assumption, and it was wrong, and it happened. It cost 7 lives and over 2,000 medical issues, and you're not talking splinters here. I'm getting off the subject, but you're talking serious injuries. And I know lack of fluoride isn't going to be in the same category, but it was supposed to be there in the first place. It was supposed to be there because somebody decided, perhaps it was councillors at the time, that it was necessary, that it really should be there. So Councillor Austin gave his what's the term? People that receive his newsletter a good explanation, well, not so much an explanation, but a good follow through, a good summary of what happened. I assume the rest of you did the same, maybe even the same one. But nonetheless, it is just truly a shameful aspect of our water treatment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Clark. Now call for Hal Pud. I don't, it's just, it seems like there's just a little tiny part. Could you pronounce it? Pudafint, okay. Just couldn't figure out what the thing was in between Pud and Fent. Pudafint, okay, thank you.
Good evening. Mr. Austin and I have already met a couple of times, and I'd like to bring forward to your attention that I'm looking for a privacy fence for my property. And I've asked HRM Planning to forward some paperwork to your office, Mr. Austin, and I was expecting it to get here before this meeting, and it didn't. There's an issue, it's a safety issue on my behalf for my family, and I just would like it to be tabled at the next meeting because it's obviously not going to get a chance to table it tonight. There is a permit in place. However, there's been some issues where I've put up a temporary fence, oversized, just 3 sections, and HRM Planning basically has asked me to take it down. I brought it down to the 6.5 feet that's there. However, I have an issue with regards to how that was dealt, because in searching all the files and everything, I see that this committee back in 2018 approved the same type of situation that I'm going through in Jackson, not Jackson Road, Gaston Road. Right? And it's a safety issue. I have PTSD. My missus has PTSD and other medical issues. And the treatment that we're receiving from our neighbors is harassment, stalking, and other sort of stuff. And there's all this stuff here is documentation where we've had animal services come up, compliance come up, police come up, and we're always being told that there's nothing they can do, nothing they can do. And my neighbors are using gel assault rifles to fire at birds in our yard or on our roof. And my concern about that is the safety issue of the surrounding, because they're shooting it at the roof and it's going over top of the roof. And I live in a neighborhood where there are children. We don't live in a neighborhood. I'll give you an example. I live in a semi-detached duplex. The distance between my residence property and my neighbor's property is 8 feet. When I built my fence in 2020 or 2001, I informed my neighbor that I was putting the fence up, and my previous residence was in Eastern Passage, and the bylaw in Eastern Passage was that we had to be a foot and a half inside our property line. So when I put it in within a foot and a half inside my property line, my chain link fence. The reason I did it is because we have animals. We're animal lovers. Okay, we do have children. They're grown adults now. So I would like this to get tabled, Mr. Austin. I'm hoping that the HRM office and the people that we have been dealing with, and I CC'd you on the last couple of emails, get the paperwork to you, because when I look through the files, I see that in 2018, that office assisted the gentleman that was in this dispute in Gaston Road. So I've asked him to assist me, and I came up with a solid, and I understand the bylaws are black and white. However, there's a human factor here, and the human factor makes it gray, and it's the safety of my family, and that's what I'm concerned about. We just want to live in peace and not have to worry about being woken up at 7 o'clock in the morning to a neighbor banging on the roof because there might be birds or there might be something going on in our area. Also, that's not totally understood in our neighborhood, and it's quite knowledgeable, is that District 5 up around Lancaster Ridge is a growing population, and there's continuously structures being built in that area. Not only in that there, if I stood in my driveway and drew a circle, a diameter circle, a 5-mile circle, I'm going to get a bunch of lakes. With regards to these lakes, rodents live in this area, okay? And everybody says there's an issue with rodents. Well, if you're going to continue to blast and take away the homes from the rodents, they're going to move, okay? I don't see an issue with it in my property, okay? However, other people do. My neighborhood has a web page, and one of my neighbors is actually on the web page posted hatred on there, citing hatred, where we basically had to go and ask them to take that down, and they eventually, after a while, they took it down. This is what I deal with day in and day out. My wife deals with it day in and day out. So I'm asking council to look at it. And Mr. Austin, I'm hoping that you get the paperwork. I have asked for another meeting with you, and hopefully we'll be able to have that meeting. That's all I have to say, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Hal. I just need some clarification because you've said a couple of times you want to table something here. What is your, what are you asking?
I'm looking for a permit to build an oversized fence in my property.
Okay, so we don't actually take anything like that here, but it's clear that Counselor Austin is working with you on something. Counselor Austin?
If I may, Ms. Chair, I know we don't normally get into back and forth, but what we're waiting on here for you to look for at agenda review is the staff report on a request for a larger than normal fence, right?
Okay,
You know, they
so-
come up every couple of years. And so we need a staff report on the agenda for that item.
Okay, so that's what's being asked, and now you as
Yes.
the counselor are bringing it to us so we can do that. Because
Well,
we
it
wouldn't
ha-
normally take that.
It has to
from
come
public.
from staff, right?
Yeah,
Like
no, I
Mr.
know.
Pettifont has made an application, and so then we need the staff report to arrive here.
Okay. Okay, so we'll work that out
Right.
for what we as this committee can do. And we'll check back with the counselor
Madam Chair?
at that time. Go ahead, Counselor Hensby.
Yes, Madam Chair, I recall that case back in 2018, and it's 7 feet 3 inches tall a fence was, that was approved. How tall of a fence are you seeking?
I'm looking for an 8-foot fence.
8-foot fence?
Yeah.
And then it'd be structurally engineered and everything else to be,
Yeah,
that's the biggest issue is
I've already
integrity.
done all that stuff, Mr. Hensby,
All right,
and all that stuff's been presented to them. And I don't want to go into great details to it, but for me, it's a safety issue.
Okay.
It's a big safety issue for my family. And I mean, Mr. Austin's aware of a lot of the stuff because we sat down and had a meeting, and I'm asking to have another meeting because some of the stuff has escalated because I can't go into it. It's just
Okay,
ridiculous.
yeah, and we're not asking you to do that tonight. I just wanted to make sure that you and I were clear on what
Yeah.
our expectations were for you.
No, I was.
And Counselor Austin has helped.
Initially, ma'am, I was told that it had to go to HRM City Council first, right? And then I had to do some
No.
research and then.
But it would,
I
not-
met
it
Mr.
would,
Austin and I
yeah.
found out that it had
Your most appropriate space here, conversations are with staff, with support from the counselor, if there's anything you can do to help make sure you're getting treated fairly and access to the staff and such. So you're doing it the right way. This is just us becoming aware of it and that something could come forward in the future.
Yes.
Okay, terrific.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. Now, are there, excuse me, are there any further, okay, would you come forward, please, and state your name and your area that you live? Your community?
My name's Alistair McLeod. I live at 188 Portland Street. That's the Moffat's Pharmacy Building. First of all, I appreciate the clear update that you guys give as to what council's up to. Whilst I'm here, I thought I'd ask, what's the status of a contractor's wish to infill Dartmouth Cove?
Well, this public participation is not intended to be a question answer. This would be you expressing your concerns or something of that nature to us. And if we needed clarification to understand what you're doing, we can ask you a question, but it's not a back and forth. So to get an update, I would encourage you to work with the area counselor. Public participation here is about you being able to have 5 minutes to express your concerns about something. It's not for you to ask questions.
Okay.
Yeah. But thank you for raising that. Okay, I'll now ask again, are there any further public participation members? Second call for public participation. And third and final call for public participation. Okay, thank you very much. There are no, there's a staff report. Yep, 1411, we have a planning application 2024-00311, development agreement for 204 Conrad Road, Lawrencetown, PID 00490862. And Ardalan, do you have a presentation to make on it? No, but you're here for support. Okay, so what's the wish of council?
Madam Chair,
Councilor Hensby,
also want to recognize the applicant is present here tonight as well.
thank you.
The Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council give notice of motion to consider proposed development agreement as set out in attachment A of the staff report dated November 4th, 2024, to allow a takeout restaurant at 204 Conrad Road and schedule a public hearing.
Seconded by Councilor Purdy. Is there any further?
Just an idea what time frame we're looking at in regards to a date?
Mr. Clerk?
Staff can perhaps provide some more context and assistance than I can, but it's difficult to provide confidence regarding scheduling a public hearings right now with the postal strike still in effect. It is making it difficult to provide a degree of assistance regarding putting out notices. But I'll let staff speak to anything else.
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair and members of Community Council. Jess Harper, Principal Planner for the Rural Policy and Applications Team. So what we've been doing with the ongoing strike is understanding that Canada Post can't provide the notifications for public hearings. So staff are working with the private courier. And through that, what we are doing is getting a cost of what that would be, understanding that it is more significant than what a Canada Post mailout would be. And then once that cost estimate is provided to staff, we are working with the applicant and allowing them to decide, do you want to pay the additional cost to have your public hearing go forward in that typical next month type situation, or do you choose to want to just kind of hold, see maybe in the new year what the post strike is doing? In this case, I can confirm we've talked to the applicant and they are willing to proceed.
Can I ask for clarification? How large of a notification area is required for this?
In the rural area, the minimum in the administrative order is 160 meters. Now we do look at that on a case-by-case basis to ensure that we're not cutting properties off on one side maybe or the other. For this one, I believe the notification area was in between 65-ish people.
I'm thinking it's about 24 houses at most.
Yeah, I know in the staff report that you have, there is a map in the back that has the notification area.
Yeah, okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
Any further questions or comments, members? No, hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. The motion's carried. Thank you. Now moving to 1412, and for anyone who might have seen the agenda, there has been a duplication of something that's not appropriate for this council. It's referencing audit and finance. So the first part of this motion for the Special Events Advisory Committee is not applicable. We'll move directly to the motion that Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council nominate X person to serve on the Special Events Advisory Committee for a term to November 2026. So I'll now call for nominations. Councillor Austin?
Thank you, Ms. Chair. I'd like to nominate Councillor Mancini.
That's Deputy Mayor Mancini.
Deputy Mayor Mancini, that's true.
Thank you. Seconded by Councillor Hensby. Are there any further nominations? Are there any further nominations? Third and final call. Are there any further nominations? Hearing none, can I have a vote of all in favor, say aye. Those opposed, nay. One abstention over there? No. Motion's carried. Thank you very much. And it appears to be a duplication?
Well, that's just we would have another motion to appoint, closing the nomination period, and then you appoint.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So we've just closed the nomination period. Now we'd need the motion to, this is, how we do this seems really, we've had this conversation in other committees. So why do we do it all that way? Anyway, so now I guess we have to put the motion on the floor again.
So move that the appointment of Paul Mancini to the Special Events Advisory Committee be approved.
Approved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion's carried. Thank you. So next, 14.13, the proposed 2025 meeting schedule. And there is no presentation for that, so I require a mover and a seconder. Moved by Councillor Purdy.
We don't need to say it.
Go ahead.
Okay, Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council approved the proposed 2025 Harbour East Marine Drive Community Council meeting schedule as outlined in the staff memorandum.
Seconded by Councillor Austin. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion's carried. There is no Heritage Advisory Committee?
Yeah, sometimes motions come from Heritage.
Okay, no Heritage Advisory Committee reports, no motions, no in camera, no added items. Notices of motion. Anyone have any notices of motion? Okay, the date of the next meeting is January 9th, 2025. And can I have a call for adjournment? Moved by Councillor Purdy. Thank you very much. Wishing everyone a wonderful holiday season. Merry Christmas. And go safe out there. It's mucky and foggy and wet, and it's hard to see people. So please be careful. Thank you all. We'll see you tomorrow.